This is PlayStation Plus or Minus for the December 2017 free games. And for the first time ever, I'm dedicating an entire video to one game, Darksiders 2 Deathinitive Edition, cause I've got a lot to say about this one. The original Darksiders 2, aka THQ's Death Knell, was originally released back in 2012 on 360 and PS3, and the Deathinitive Edition is the gussied up current-gen version of that game with all the DLC included. The game stars Death, one of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, here reimagined as what DeviantArt probably thinks Reaper looks like with his shirt off, but I digress. Death embarks on a quest to absolve his brother War from the first Darksiders game by running around a giant open world, doing fetch quests for giant Scottish people, collecting a ton of mostly inconsequential loot, and ripping off Zelda of all things. From what I can tell, Darksiders 2 is remembered pretty fondly by a lot of people, and I don't really understand why, to be completely honest. Okay, we'll start off with what this game does right. It looks pretty nice, considering it's a 5-year-old game from the previous generation. Aesthetically, it's pretty cool, and generally, it's also fine, for the most part. I like Death's cool purple spirit hands that do stuff for him. They look, neat. I actually liked some of the music quite a bit, but honestly, I think I only noticed because I wasn't super invested in the gameplay. I liked Death's voice.
Took a wrong turn. It appears I'm stranded here with the rest of you.
Yeah, anyway, onto what I didn't like. So it's kind of hard to say at a glance what exactly it is that I find so unappealing about this game. It could be the convoluted and overly grandiose story that's delivered by what are all rights goofy cartoon characters.
Open the portal.
It might be the fact that the game uses some boring default font for everything that makes the game look incredibly amateurish. It could be the fact that the menus are really stiff, and I cannot believe I'm actually complaining about this again, but why can't I use the D-pad for the menus? Seriously, that bothers me way more than it probably should, but I was frustrated by it enough times that I have to mention it, and I don't care what anyone— Sorry. The truth is that most of those are nitpicks. The core issue here is that Darksiders 2 has no idea what it wants to be, and so it ends up with a huge smattering of features and it can't fully deliver on any of them. It fails first off as a God of War hack and slasher because combat as a whole is very stiff and awkward. The camera is just terrible, but hey, they've got this handy lock-on feature on L2, but oh wait, you have to hold L1 to cast magic. Oh wow, isn't that just a little pickle? Now you can't lock on and cast magic at the same time. Good luck with that. Plus, each area has about 2 kinds of monster, which would be pretty lacking in an indie platformer from 2008, but in a AAA hack and slasher like this, it's just embarrassing. It fails as an explorative loot collecting game a la World of Warcraft because the world is tiny and narrow and not very fun to explore, and the loot you get is boring and has zero appreciable impact on gameplay besides making arbitrary and mostly meaningless numbers go up. It fails as a platformer for about a million reasons. See, sometimes the platforming is framed real nice and the camera zooms back far enough to let you see the cool moves you're doing, and other times it sticks the camera right up Skeletor's bony ass and won't let you see anything around you. Plus, it all takes place in completely constrained areas with absolutely no freedom. Platforming that's this restrictive just feels archaic. What, are you serious? I couldn't just climb any of these ledges? Why is only one side a ledge that I can climb? Why are you like this? It fails as a story because the story is overly long and confusing, and it's not satisfying to constantly be moving towards a single goal, but get stopped over and over and over again. Hey, go save your brother. Wait, go turn on the forge. Oh wait, go kill this guy. Wait, go find my favorite bowl.
A dish? You want me to bring you a dish?
Yes, well, it has sentimental value.
Death, you can insist all you want that you're
not your errand boy, Maker.
But for someone who's not an errand boy, you sure do run a lot of errands for people. And lastly, it fails as a Zelda game, because wowie wow are these dungeons crappy. There's no coherent flow or structure to most of these dungeons. Every room looks basically the same, so doing anything other than following the little hint system is pointless. Even finishing a dungeon isn't satisfying because it just kind of happens. There's very little sense of, this is the end of the dungeon, like in Zelda games. I fought what felt like a mini-boss, turned a crank, and then the game told me I was done. Oh, okay. The main mechanic of the first 2 dungeons seems to be blow up some crystals with these conveniently placed bombs, and then roll some balls, and oh my word, that is the worst animation for anything I have ever seen in my life. And another thing about that hint system I mentioned, the crow, it's like they knew their dungeons were samey and hard to follow, since not only do they give you a handy little here's where to go next dipshit button.
Dust? What do you see?
During particularly confusing times, they'll actually remind you and basically just say, yeah, okay, sorry, this part's really confusing, just ask your crow where to go for this one, okay? And other times, there's really only one path to follow. So you follow it, it ends in a switch, you hit it, cause I guess that's what I have to do now, and then you continue following the obvious linear path. Good Zelda dungeons feel compact, like they're exactly as big as they need to be. And notice I said good Zelda dungeons, not every Zelda dungeon. In Darksiders 2, every room feels about 3 times bigger than it needs to be, and this is only made worse by Death's horrendously slow movement. I can only assume that this is to accommodate the platforming and stuff, and just to make the world feel more grand, but it really does not help the flow of the game. I'm sorry, am I missing something here? I really hate to say this, but Darksiders 2 gets a minus from me. This game feels like a half-assed Zelda knockoff. And if you disagree, I really, seriously would love to know why. Please tell me in the comments why I'm wrong. I really genuinely want to know what people like about this game, because I just don't see it. Anyway, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed a slightly more in-depth look at the game. I haven't finished it. This is still not what I consider to be a full review of the game, but I had a lot to say about this one, and it's the only game that really seems at all interesting. I actually haven't even played the others at time of writing. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.